We're at Houston Raceway Park in the inaugural Fram Supernationals, and as Steve told us earlier, an overflow crowd estimated at some 40,000 people. Now let's go to the pit. Steve Evans is with Dick LaHaye.
You know, no one can remember the last time Dick LaHaye oiled down a racetrack. Can you?
No, I can't, to be truthful with you. I can't ever remember doing it in an NHRA national event. And I mean, I feel bad about it for the people that have to run behind me because I have to do it so many times in somebody else's oil, you know?
And it wasn't an engine.
No, it wasn't. It destroyed the rear end housing about a second and a half into the run. And it's just one of those things. I guess it was time for one of those to fail. It's the next weak link in the line.
Just to add it to the list of ways to lose.
Oh, yes. That's just one of the 10,000.
And Steve, I think Dick LaHaye probably feels he has experienced every one of those 10,000 this season. The reigning champion not having the best season of his career. On the racetrack now, Connie Coletta in the near lane against Richard Holcomb in the far lane. Coletta, a bit of a surprise. He qualified extremely well, turning a 5.06 seconds as he begins to sort out the problems on a new car that he debuted a couple of races ago.
And talk about a man having his best event ever. That has got to be Connie's opponent in the far lane, Richard Holcomb, at 5:15, and he put away Shirley Muldowney in round number 1. I guarantee you Connie Coletta has got more money in the petty cash drawer at his flying service than Richard Holcomb's net worth. But here, performance-wise, they are heads up.
Holcomb hails out of Stockbridge, Georgia. He's been in drag racing a long time, and as Steve just said, this is the best showing of his career. Connie Coletta from Ypsilanti, Michigan, owns a flying service. And when we're talking about a flying service, not just a couple of small airplanes, we're talking about DC-8s and even bigger.
That's right. Coletta in the near lane, Holcomb in the far lane, Clayton Harris kind of conferring with his driver, helping him stage. It's a very delicate process, getting those wheels perfectly positioned in the beam. That turns on the staging lights on the Christmas tree. The starter activates the switch. From the time the starter buster couch pushes that button, it's a half a second till the yellow light, 4/10 yellow to green.
And both drivers get the green light and smoke off the tires of Richard Holcomb, indicating the car lost traction. And Connie Coletta with a 5.18 second elapsed time, 272 mile an hour charge, advances into the semifinals. What a disappointment it's got to be for Richard Holcomb. He got a bit of a starting line advantage over Connie Coletta, but then the car lost traction, the smoke coming off those tires indicating they are really spinning, the ultimate in burning rubber. And Richard Holcomb goes out of competition. That sets up our semifinals. Connie Coletta against Joe Amato. Amato having the choice of lanes, and the race that all Texas has been waiting to see, Eddie Hill against Gene Snow, with Hill holding the choice of lanes. Steve?
You know, suddenly you've gone into the O's in qualifying and now teens. What happened to kind of bring you around?
Well, we put the high gear in it. This is a new car, and ever since we brought it out at Indy, I've had nothing but clutch trouble trying to get the tires to stop spinning. And I guess the new race car just wanted this high gear system.
Fun to start getting wind lights again.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Connie Coletta, he'll put a few pistons in it and be back for the semis.
Coletta had a 5:15 elapsed time. That's not good enough for lane choice over Joe Amato when they come up in the semifinals of Top Fuel. Right now, though, it is round number 2 of Pro Stock Racing and the classic Ford versus Chevrolet battle. The new record holder, Bob Glidden, at the wheel of his Motorcraft Probe against the Levi Garrett Beretta of Rare and Morrison with Bruce Allen driving.
And David, everybody is talking about the Probe. It looks like a funny car in this head-on shot. And that's not because Glidden has modified the car. You can't according to the rules. That's the way a Probe comes from the Ford factory. It has got to be wind tunnel friendly.
Bruce Allen 2 times this season. He has driven that Beretta into the winner's circle. Out of Arlington, Texas, he won the Cajun Nationals and the Gator Nationals.
Now, let's be honest about it. Nobody is going to steal the Winston Championship this year from that man, Bob Glidden, especially now with the new Probe race car. No superchargers here, no nitromethane. You're talking 118 octane racing gasoline, maximum 500 cubic inches, 2,350 pounds, and 2 great big 4-barrel carburetors.
And this is exactly what these fans wanted to see, the factory matchup of Ford versus Chevrolet. Glidden in the near lane, Bruce Allen in the far lane.
It is Glidden away first by 200ths of a second, the wheels high in the air.
His son Rusty urging him on to victory, and it is another round win for Bob Glidden. His elapsed time, 7.40 seconds. His speed, 186 miles an hour. These carbureted cars suffer more with atmosphere changes than do the nitromethane burning cars in Top Fuel and Funny Car. But it is equal for both drivers as far as the air goes. And in this case, the Ford of Bob Glidden made the horsepower necessary to drive away from Bruce Allen and advance into the semifinals of Pro Stock Eliminator. The margin of victory, 1 car length.
And back in the Top Fuel pitch, the crew working on Joe Amato's car, tending to the clutch, which these days is every bit, if not a little more important than the engine itself. We'll be back to the Fram Supernationals. The parking lot here at Houston Raceway Park absolutely filled to capacity as the Texans celebrate the birth of a new facility, Houston Raceway Park. Built by Texans, the Don and Carl Gay families, and the Angel Brothers. They are the partners in this racetrack. The Angel Brothers, Dave McClellan, are paving contractors, and what a drag strip they have laid down. Asphalt with a 400-foot-long concrete launch pad.
And that launch pad has propelled this track to the record-shattering times that we have seen in qualifying and in Pro Stock. These guys have got a new mark to shoot at. It is a 7.27-second record held now by Bob Glidden. In the far lane of the track, Butch Leal driving his Pontiac. Here in the near lane, it is Tony Christian at the wheel of the Chevrolet Beretta.
And of course, Butch Leal takes great pride and has made a lot of headlines with his starting prowess. Always getting away first. Well, almost always. If there's one man that can gate him, it is Tony Christian, because he has devoted himself to doing just that.
Butch Leal and his Delco Batteries Pontiac started off the season in grand style. He won the opening race of the year at the Winter Nationals in Pomona, California. Since then, though, he has been shut out of the winner's circle. Leal in the far lane. Tony Christian at the wheel of the A&B Automotive Beretta in the near lane has won 2 races this year, the Mid-South Nationals and the North Star Nationals.
Let's see who wins the war off of the starting line. They're staged and ready. It is Butch Leal away first.
But Leal may be having some problems as Tony Christian is a long ways ahead. And Christian goes into the semifinals. His time, 7.44 seconds. His speed over 186 miles an hour. And back on the starting line, our next pair continues their burnout procedure. In the near lane is Larry Morgan at the wheel of an Oldsmobile he debuted earlier this year. Now is beginning to reap the benefits of lots of hard work as he qualified exceptionally well. Let's go to the far end, and Steve.
Here's Bob Glidden trying to run over Tony Christian.
And I'll see you later.
Oh, boy, you're in the mid-740s. You can run with him.
If I can get by Warren, he's going to get another one of those thumpings.
Steve, Tony Christian, and Bob Glidden may be our next stars of WrestleMania. They're in the semifinals of Pro Stock. On the starting line is Frank Sanchez. And if there was ever a surprise driver at this race, Sanchez is it. He qualified with a 7:29 elapsed time.
One of the few drivers ever to get into the 720s. As you said, he's up against Larry Morgan, the Castrol GTX Oldsmobile, having one of his better outings since building that car. And with lane choice was Morgan. He has taken the near lane. That's been a pretty unanimous choice.
Sanchez appears to have the advantage at the starting line. And in the lane that some drivers consider to be a little bit lacking, Frank Sanchez records a 7.44-second ET at a speed of over 185 miles an hour. In Gene Snow's pit area, the work is proceeding, getting his car ready for that ultimate race against Eddie Hill. That'll be coming up a little bit later at the Fram Supernationals.